By the end of this video, you are going to know exactly how you can create a service area aware chatbot that will work on SMS, WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger, Instagram Messenger, your chat widget, and probably a few that I'm forgetting. So whether you are in the home service business or you are an agency that serves home service businesses, this video is going to help you create a better bot that's going to make you more efficient. And I'll explain why here in a little bit, and also give your customers a better experience. Now, if you're not in the home service business, you still want to watch this video because the fundamentals that I'm going to cover will apply if you're a real estate agent, a mortgage broker, a med spa, a chiropractic agency. It doesn't matter. There are fundamentals in here that are going to serve you, I promise. So watch this video all the way through. Hey, if you're new to the channel, welcome. My name's Justin. I like to create content just like this, showing you how I solve problems in my business for my clients and for my community. And now that I mentioned my community, I run a community named Automation Station. It is completely free. Anything I give away, like the resources in this video, I'm going to give away this bot 100% for free, are going to be located here in the Automation Station community. All you want to do is come into the community, go into video announcements, search for the video title or the upload date, click on it. If there is a template, like this one has a Closebot template, you would just click it and you would be able to upload the Closebot template right into your Closebot account, completely free. So enough of that. Now, why do we want service area checking? Now, this is very important. And this is something that I think ad agencies, I'm calling you out, media buyers, do wrong all the time. Now, Facebook ad campaigns are notorious for getting the service area wrong. So if you're a home service business or your home service agency and you draw a circle around your service area or an address, oftentimes you get leads that are outside of that. Sometimes they're slightly outside and sometimes they're in a completely different state. And if you have nothing in place to check service area, and maybe you have a bot already in place that's automatically texting these leads, you're potentially wasting money and time and also setting the wrong expectations for people who are outside of your service area, and also annoying your clients if you're an agency because you're sending them leads that are outside of their service area. And so they're going to hit you up and say, hey, why am I spending money, on leads that are outside of my service area? Can you fix this? Can you fix this? And the truth is that the Facebook algorithm is imperfect. However, you can make that better. Now, if I'm not going to make this a full-blown metapixel class, but the beauty in checking service area is that you can fire your metapixel events solely based on only leads that are in the service area or qualified to be there. And so over time, that ad account will get groomed to find more people in the service area. But again, I'm not going to go over the metapixel stuff here. I'm simply going to focus on how to take different actions and how to check if the lead is in the service area interactively, automatically, without you doing it. So let's hop in here. I mentioned that we're going to cover some fundamentals here, and we are. And some things that are very important is that right here, let's see, let's come in here. We're going to cover some actions that we haven't covered yet in the Closebot. Now, I should introduce Closebot. If you're new to Closebot, Closebot is an amazing conversational AI text-based provider, not a voice provider, a text-based provider. And like 90% of the business that I do and my companies that I serve do is over text message. There are some voice applications that we try to help, conversion rate optimization with voice and answering missed calls, but text message is so powerful. Like the read rate, the interaction rate, the response rate is fast and plentiful on text. And so Closebot makes it easy. They've been around for a long time, longer than Go High Level's conversational AI. And in my opinion, they're better. So I'm going to go ahead and close that. Check them out. They have a generous free tier, by the way. So you should be able to import this. Although I think there's some restrictions on how many actions or nodes that you can have in there if you are on the free tier. But I think every single plan has a free trial too. So I don't know, go in there and check it out. Okay, cool. So coming over here, we're going to use a few different things here. So we're going to give information to the lead. So we're going to use the statement action here. We're going to get information from the lead. So we're going to use the objective action. We're going to make decisions based on AI. So we're going to tell AI, hey, evaluate this response or evaluate this value and let me know if it's true or false. And we're going to use AI to do that. We're going to wait and check. This is all new stuff. We're going to check for fields to be set. So if a field inside of your Go High Level is set, then we can take some actions, and that's new here. So I'm excited for that. Now, what else do we have? We're going to reach out to an external API. This is kind of an advanced topic, and this application is the first time I've dealt with this, and it's actually pretty nice. It works pretty well. We're also going to conversationally book appointments, where if you're not new to Closebot, you're aware how this works, but if you're new to Closebot, you're going to be surprised by how simple Closebot makes it to book appointments conversationally. And the last thing we're going to do is add tags directly from Closebot. And so before, you used to have to marry this up with like a workflow inside of Go High Level, but now it's all available inside of Closebot's Canvas builder. So let me go ahead and put this pen away and let's zoom out a little bit and see what else we need to do. So I want to make sure I cover some fundamentals before we move on. Yeah, here's our roadmap, okay, for today. This might be a longer video, but it's okay because I'm going to cover every single thing. We're going to build it from scratch. I'm not just going to show you this framework and say, hey, look, it works. It's magic. Go figure it out. I'm going to build it from scratch and I'm going to give it to you for free. So some of you may be tempted to just click and import, but you do that, I guarantee you're probably going to mess something up and you're going to come back and watch the video anyway. So just watch it. So here we're going to use the Google API for location checking. So I think it's called like the location matrix API. We're going to configure the Closebot source. We're going to configure a Closebot persona, a Closebot job flow, and then we're going to do some testing using a chat widget. This will work on SMS, WhatsApp, or whatever, but we're just going to use the chat widget because it's easy to test that way. Now, some of you guys may be asking, well, you said Google API. I don't know what that means. Okay, don't worry about that. We're going to cover it. Essentially, we're going to reach out to Google. Our bot is going to reach out to Google automatically without us telling it to. I mean, tell it to once and it's just going to continue to do it, but it's going to do that. And so you might be asking, well, what does that cost? Well, that's a great question because I had the same question myself. And like many of you, I asked ChatGPT. So go ahead and fact check this if you want. Some of you guys may be well versed in Google Cloud services, but ChatGPT says that we have a generous free tier, $200 in free usage per month, maybe. So it looks like we can have 40,000 elements per month. And like, what's an element? One origin and one destination. What's an origin? What's a destination? We're going to see in the video. I'm going to show you exactly what that is. So it seems like it'd be pretty cheap, potentially free. We'll see. All right. So without further ado, let's hop in. So I am right here inside of my Closebot. I also have Go High Level here. We are going to be using Go High Level alongside Closebot. It plugs in nicely. There's no workflows required. And the first thing we're going to do is configure a source. Now, I already have my source attached, but if you didn't have the source attached, you would come over here to sources, you would add a new source, click on High Level Sub Account, click Next, Connect, and then it'll pop open with a new window where it will ask you permission to install the Marketplace app. You would click Next, and then you would just select the sub account that you want to connect. Now, in my case, the sub account is already connected, which is Vets Wash Houses. And so I'm not going to have to click connect here, but literally all you would have to do is click connect and you're done. No workflows or anything needed. So I'm going to go ahead and close out of this because I already have my Vets Wash Houses configured. And the next thing I'm going to do is create a persona. So just so you understand, sources are like where the activity is happening. Think your Go High Level sub account. In the future, they'll support HubSpot, maybe Salesforce, Service Titan, all these different sources that they're coming up with on their roadmap. But right now, Go High Level is probably the main one. And if you're watching this channel, you probably use Go High Level. But we also have a few different components. We have personas, which is like the personality of the bot. And then we have job flows, which is like the actual programming, the logic of the bot. So a persona and a job flow, both displayed here on this page, are a bot. So you need a persona and a job flow. Those put together are a bot. It'll make more sense here in a second. So let's go ahead and create a persona. We're going to go ahead and name it Tracy. Let's name our bot Tracy. And then I'm just going to say this is a Vets Wash Houses test. And then in here, I'm going to delete this standard field. And I have a scratch pad here where I have some standard bullet points that I like to add on how I respond. You don't have to pause this video and try to copy everything because I am literally going to provide this to you for download for free. So like, don't pause and try to copy it. When you click the link to import it, it's already going to be in here. So we're going to, actually, I'm not going to tell it to not ask for photos because the nice thing about Closebot version 2, which this is right here, is that it understands photos now. So I'm going to let it ask for photos. Do not ask lead name. Do not use lead name in the responses. Don't be too heavy on sales. Make it conversational. Cool, cool, cool. All right. All that's good. Now, concise, friendly, sincere. That tone seems fine to me. I'll leave it alone. One thing I do like to change is this right here. And this is a bug that I noticed inside of Closebot. So Closebot, if you're watching, fix this, but I can't change this while I'm creating it. I have to come back in and change it later. So I'm going to leave it where it's at right now. And then we'll change it later. Cool. Next thing, here's another component that Closebot has. They're called providers. Don't get confused. These are just your API keys for the AI providers you want to use. The two most popular ones are OpenAI and Anthropic. So I have API keys programmed for both. If you didn't have one, you can come over here and look how many AI providers Closebot supports. We have Gemini, DeepSeek, Grok. That's pretty cool. If you're using Go High Level's conversational AI, I don't even think they tell you who's on the back end. It's probably OpenAI, but we already have them connected. I already have my API keys connected. If you don't know where to get your API keys for these services, Google it or ask ChatGPT. There are millions of resources out there to get them. I already have mine connected. So I'm going to go ahead and click on these in the order I want to use them. So for this bot, I want to use OpenAI as a primary, and as a secondary, we can use Anthropic. Now, the difference between the two is Anthropic tends to be a little bit more conversational, so a little bit better on like the rapport building, but a little bit less good at like determining whether it met the objectives. And I just find Closebot to be, not Closebot, OpenAI to be more efficient and more direct and to the point. And for my home service companies, I really just want to get a few pieces of information. It's pretty cut and dry and pass them the lead. So we're going to go ahead and click next and create the persona. And then because we had that bug, I'm going to come in here and edit the persona. I don't really care to break up longer messages, so I'm just going to slide this to 0 and save changes. Now we have our persona. Next thing we need is our job flow. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to create a job flow. So before we do that, let me pause this real quick. All right, I just wanted to make sure I had my notes up here, but we're going to create a job flow. So I already have one created, but we're going to create one from scratch here. And we're going to name this Vets Wash Houses YouTube. Cool. Just so I know it's the YouTube tutorial. If you had different groups, so these are like folders for job flow, so you can stay organized. Like I have development and production here. I can add it right now. I'm just going to add it to the all job flows group. Click next. And then we're going to select our source. So that's why we wanted to connect our source earlier. So when I drop down here, all I need to do is search for the source, which is Vets Wash Houses. And here we go. And so here it says filter by tag. So when do we want it to respond and when do we not want it to respond? So by default, I only have one red one here, which means if the AI off tag is added, do not respond. Okay, so the AI off tag inside of Go High Level, if that's assigned to any contact, then this bot essentially won't work. You can come in here and get advanced and you can like put green check marks in here and say, hey, only respond if somebody has the green tag here, AI aggression detected, okay? But I'm going to leave it blank. Channels. So if you have no channels selected, that means that this bot will work on all channels. But let's say you only wanted this to work on your live chat widget on your website, and you can just select that and then it will be restricted to the live chat widget on your website. I'm just going to go ahead and exit that out so it can respond on all channels and click next. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to build from scratch. Again, you're going to click the link and this is all going to be created for you. But if you wanted to build from scratch, just come over here, select that and click deploy. Now, all workflows start with, or job flows start with this start action that you really can't do anything with. You just move it around, but the conversation starts here. And so typically we're starting this conversation because a new lead came in from our website, or maybe like they sent us a Facebook message, and then this job flow is triggered and the bot will go through its series of qualifying questions. So the first thing I like to do in here is I drag an objective and I just want to get the lead's first name. And so if I come down here and I click first name, you see that Closebot automatically fills in a title and a short description, and it will actually save the first name inside of the Go High Level field. So we're going to go ahead and click save there. And then I just drag and connect these two together. So when the conversation starts, the first field is first name. Now, if I click on advanced settings here, there's this neat little skip if not blank. What that means is if we already have the first name, let's say they filled out a form on our website and we already have their first name, it won't ask for it. It'll skip it, okay? So you don't have to worry about it. It does it automatically. Now, the next thing we're going to do, I could stack objectives here, and we're actually going to stack them on this one, but I'm going to drag in another objective action, and I'm going to say, let's see, I think I have a custom field here. I may have to refresh because I have a custom field here inside of my sub account, and I think it's like job description. So, we don't have a persona attached, so that's why. So let's go ahead and click on, I just clicked on the settings channel here, right there, and I'm just going to select, who did I say? Tracy. We're going to select Tracy, and then we're going to click save. And actually, before I started configuring objectives, I'm still getting the hang of this. This is brand new. I probably should have configured like the bot prompt, and we'll do that here in a second. We're going to kind of hop back and forth a little bit. But let me see if I exit this and drag and drop objectives. Let's see if my, okay, they still don't appear here. So I'm just going to refresh this after I published and see if my custom fields, because I have a custom field inside of this sub account that is like, I think it's job description. Yeah, job description. So I want to fill that in. And so this is refreshed. Let's see if I can find, okay, that looks better. So I just had to refresh this screen. Make sure you save before you refresh so you don't lose anything. So I'm going to go ahead and click that, and then you see it all automatically came up with some stuff here. I'm going to modify this a little bit because job description sometimes can confuse the AI and like ask them like, where do they work? So I'm going to say get project description, and then get the contacts project description. And then we're going to add a sub objective here, which means that the AI is going to have the ability to ask both of these at the same time and also get them answered at the same time, or ask them one at a time. It's going to choose just based on its conversation and its decision-making process. So the next thing I want here is the postal code, because we're not quite going to ask for the full address yet, because that tends to creep people out early on. People just like don't trust talking to random people. So we're going to ask something low threat like the postal code and see if we can get that. That way we can check if they're in the service area. Now, the way service areas work for the contractors that I service is they give me an address and typically give me a radius of like 25 or 30 miles. So we'll use like, I don't know, 30 miles as an example here. So we're going to go ahead and click save, and there we go. So if we connect these two, now we have 3 objectives: get first name, get project description, get postal code. Now, before we move on, I should have done this. I should have did this in the beginning. We're going to go here to settings, and then inside of job information, we're going to fill these out. And these are essentially this is the bot prompt. This is the information, the essential information that needs to be given to the bot in order for it to have like personality and context on why the conversation is happening and important business information. So this is by far, this is not a prompting lesson, but I just have a sample prompt here. And I think we named this one Tracy, right? So this is Tracy, Vets Wash Houses, a pressure washing house, lead name opted into a digital ad, yada, yada, yada. Cool. Again, all this is just an example. So we'll go ahead and cool. We've got, yeah, basic prompt here. This works by the way, but this isn't like me telling you that I'm the master at prompting and you should follow my, lead. This is just saying that like this is enough for it to work. So we're going to click save. We're not going to focus on follow-ups or anything right now. And now our bot sort of has a personality, has a few objectives, but we need to get some more objectives here. So let's come over here, and one of the actions we're going to use here is delay variables. So what we're going to do here is essentially wait until the postal code objective is satisfied and stored in Go High Level, okay? That's what this node does. So if we click in here, I'm just going to name it postal code. And the variable that we're looking for is postal code. So whenever postal code is filled, then it will move on. So it's just going to wait till this is filled. That's just us making sure that we get that objective satisfied. And postal code's great because I'm pretty sure it's a number field, so it has to be like a number. So you're not going to get some like weird formatted text in there. Okay, it could be wrong. Fact check me. Put it in the comments if you want. We don't need an extra prompt here. We're going to click save and go over here. But you do have this continue responding while waiting. That means if like we're still waiting for the postal code and it's on this objective and they have like a random question about our business, it'll continue to respond while waiting. So that is the behavior we want. Now, for the next node, we're going to sort of take a break from this canvas builder. We're going to save because we're actually going to use this webhook node. Now, in order to use this webhook node, we need to configure some stuff in our Google Cloud because we need to be able to reach out to Google and their API, and we're going to pass them some information. We're going to say, hey, Google, come back and give me what the distance is between these 2 points because I want to determine if it's in my service area. And so if you come over here to cloud.google.com, you see here I'm logged in with my LeadBrain account. You can log in with whatever Gmail or Google enterprise account you may have, and then you just click on console here. And once you do that, assuming you've never used this before, we're going to go ahead and create a new project because you would need to create a new project. I'm just going to name this service area checking. Everything else can remain the same. I'm going to go ahead and click create, and that's going to create. It'll take a few seconds, and then once it is completed, like it is right there, we're just going to click on select project. And now we are inside of the service area check-in project. Now, the next thing you want to do is pop open this hamburger menu. We're going to hover over API and services and click on enabled API and services. And actually, I think you could probably do this from the home screen, but you could search for matrix up here, or you can click that button for adding and just search for matrix, and you should see the distance matrix pop up. So I'm going to go ahead and click distance matrix and click enable. Now, once I do this, it's going to give me an API key. Maybe I'll have to like answer a few questions and then it'll give me an API key, but we're going to enable this API, enable this service. And here's going to ask for my billing account. I'm going to pause this just so that if I click this drop down, it doesn't show my credit card number. But if you needed to add a credit card number, just go ahead and add it there. We saw the pricing. And probably if I click learn more here, it'll tell us more about the pricing. But I'll come back after I check the billing information. All right, so I actually had some issues adding billing and wanted me to request an increase in quota, but I have another project here where the billing is squared away. So I just switched projects, but you know how to create a project now, so you shouldn't have those issues. I'm going to go ahead and click on the distance matrix API and enable it just like this. And once I do this, it should ask me some questions and then give me an API key. So it didn't even ask me questions, but here we are popped into the APIs and services. If I scroll down here to distance matrix, let's see if we can find it. You see that we have distance matrix enabled, and I'm just going to go ahead and click on keys here. And then we are going to add a new key. Assuming you don't have a key already created, we can create an API key. And then once I do that, it should give me an API key. Now, this API key should be secret because it could cost you money. So you shouldn't be sharing it the way I am. But I'll just delete it after I'm done. So I'm going to go ahead and copy that key into a scratchpad so that we can use that later. You will need that. All right, now we have our Google platform, our project created, our API enabled. Pretty cool stuff here too. If you look, you see we have like solar API, pollen API, weather API. There's some pretty cool stuff you can do here, so you can use your imagination. If you guys are servicing solar companies, you might want to look into this solar API and some of their guides. But here we are back inside of Closebot, and we're going to configure this webhook. So if I come over here and look at my notes, we're going to name this service area check. And for the URL, you can just copy this or import it as a part of your template or use ChatGPT, but this is the endpoint. This is how we talk to that API that we just exposed or enabled. And the method is going to be get. And then here under query parameters, we're going to add a origins, which is actually one of the, what do they call them? Elements. So it's an element. So origins is an element, okay? So we're going to add an element. The origins, and origins is the origin zip code. So like whatever zip code the business is in, okay? You can actually put the entire address in here, but you'll have to do something called URL encoding. It's a little bit advanced. Zip code for most of my applications works fine, but if you have to like actually use an address, you can Google URL encoding. And actually, question for Closebot, not sure if Closebot will automatically URL encode query parameters. Sounds advanced, but if it does, Bryce, team, let me know if it does. But for here, I'm just going to say 30905. That's here in Augusta. That's going to stay static, right? The service-based business isn't moving around. And so the origins is always going to be 30905. However, the destinations is always going to be different. And for destinations, the reason we're waiting for the postal code value to fill is we're going to use that value inside of destinations to determine the distance between the 2 points. So we're comparing 30905 to the postal code of the contact that we're talking to. So if I responded and I say I'm in 30906, Google will determine the distance between those two. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is add another query parameter, and I'm going to call it units. And I'm going to request freedom units, aka imperial, because we want to see it in miles. Just joking. If you're in a different country, maybe you want to kilometers, meters, right? And metric system, you can omit this. Now, the last thing we need to do is add another query parameter and name it key. And that is the API key that we just copied that I shouldn't be sharing, but I'm sharing here with you. And right now, if I test this webhook, you'll see that we actually have some responses, but there's no distance found. And that's because the contact postal code isn't actually filling, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to delete this, and I'm going to put 30906 in here, just static, just so we can test it so you can see what comes back. So when we test it, you see we have a destination address of Augusta, Georgia, our origin address of Fort Eisenhower, Georgia, and then you have the distance in miles, and this right here is actually the distance in meters. So you can, this is a number, you can do some math here, but we're not going to do math because this isn't a math channel. We're going to use AI. So what I'm going to do is come back over here, and I'm going to delete this static destination, and I'm going to put our postal code back in here. Okay, cool. So once we have that, I'm just going to go ahead and click save and connect these two. Now we have a bot that's pretty functional, but all this does at this point is it's going out and it's reaching out, it's getting information back, but we're not really doing anything with it yet. So what we need is to make a decision based on the information we get back. So I'm going to add a branch node, which is a true or false node, and we're going to use AI to determine whether this lead is in the service area or not. So let's come in here and title be like in service area question mark, and then I'm going to check use AI to power the decision. If you didn't want to use AI, you could probably come in here and look at like the node. Let's see, I would have to like save it at the right time so that the service area checker can come in, but I can like pull the field out of the response and compare like meters, right? But I don't want to do the meter math. So I'm just going to come over here and use AI to power the decision. And I'm going to say, hey, determine if lead name is in our service area. We service a 30-mile radius, and click save. And don't worry, we're going to test this, see if it works or not. So once we connect this, we have a true or false branch. So we could take the customer through 2 different journeys. Let's go ahead and handle the false branch first, because that's going to end pretty quickly. So I'm going to go ahead and add a tag if it's not in the service area, and I'm just going to call it 𝐂𝐨𝐧𝐧𝐽, not in service area. Okay, so I'll add a tag called 𝐂𝐨𝐧𝐧𝐽, click save, and I don't know, maybe we also add the tag like AI off. So let's add the tag AI off, because we kind of just want to stop responding. So we have 𝐂𝐨𝐧𝐧𝐽 and oh my gosh, and AI off. Sweet. So 2 birds, 1 stone. I connect this false branch here, and next thing we're going to do is inform them that they're out of the service area. So we can just say out of service area. You can use AI to generate the response, inform at lead name that they are not in our service area. Sincerely apologize and bid farewell. Too easy. Now here in advanced settings, this is just it's just going to say this to them, right? And then we're just going to move on without a response. We don't need a response from the contact because we just want to end the conversation after this. So I'm going to click save, and I'm going to make sure we don't need anything else. Yep. We're just going to click stop responding. I'm going to drag that in here and connect that. So that's what happens. Hey, if it's false, if they're not in our service area, we don't need anything else to happen. Add these tags, let them know that we're not in the service area. Don't even let them respond. We don't want to interact with them anymore, and move on. So next thing we're going to do is work on the true branch. So if we come over here to true and I pop into modified tags, we're going to add a tag called ISA, like in service area, right? Let's go all caps because that's what we did down there. And click save, and I'm just going to go ahead and connect these. So later on in our Go High Level CRM, I can look at everything that was in service area and not in service area is the reason I had those tags. And then maybe I want to trigger a workflow based on tag added, because earlier I mentioned metapixel stuff, right? And I'm not going to go over that here. But let's say a tag was added with ISA, then maybe we want to fire a metapixel event out to Meta and tell them, hey, that was a qualified lead. Send us more like that. Again, not a full class on that. So now at this point, it's a pretty low threat conversation. We got their first name, project description, and postal code. We haven't asked for their phone number, their email, their street address, or anything. But now that we know that they're in our service area, maybe we want to get a little bit more intimate. So I'm going to come in here, drag an objective, and I will add the objective called street address, because now let's get the full address. Now that we know they're in the service area, maybe we want to tell them they're in our service area too. We can add another statement if you wanted to here saying, hey, congratulations, you're in our service area. Can we get your street address? But I'm going to leave it simple for now. Might be a good idea, establish some rapport, but keep things simple. Then we're going to add some more objectives. And these objectives are essentially going to be the phone number and the email address. And you might be asking, well, why do we need the phone number and the email address if we're texting them? Well, we might not be texting them. They might have come in through a web chat or like a Facebook messenger. And at that point, we don't have their phone number and their email. We just have their name. But if they came in via a form, well, we have these settings that say skip if not blank, which means if they're already filled out, they'll get skipped. So chill out. All right, next thing, once we get all this information, if this is good information, it's all we need, then I'm going to add another tag and I'm going to say, hey, this is a qualified lead. And this tag might, I don't know, fire a workflow that notifies the team that they have a qualified lead in their service area, and I change it in their pipeline and say, hey, this is a qualified lead, right? So at that point, we have a qualified lead. I'm adding a tag so I can do whatever I want with that tag trigger inside of Go High Level. And last thing we can do is, I don't know, let's determine if they want to book an appointment. This is something that we couldn't do in the past. Before, we would just say like, hey, try to book the appointment. But what if they don't want to book the appointment on the text? But what if they want somebody to reach out to them? Well, we're going to ask them if they want to book the appointment. We can do that now inside of Closebot. So here inside of a statement, we don't need to get information, but we're going to ask them a question. And in here, I'm going to say, I don't know, let's say we're going to use AI to generate the response. Determine if lead name would like to book their estimate now, or would they prefer the estimate team to, I'm going to say, contact them. Cool. And let's see, booking intent, not booking intent is what we'll call this. And in the advanced settings, it says move out without response. Now I'm going to wait. I want to wait till they respond. So cool. Ask them, do they want to book now? And what's going to happen after this? I'm just going to add another branch. We already know how to use this. We're a pro at this by now. But let's call this booking intent evaluation. And yeah, let's use AI to power this decision. And here in my notes, we're going to say, hey, if lead name wants to conversationally book their estimate now, then mark this as true. And if they don't, then mark it as false. That's all that's doing here. So I'll clean this up here in a second. So if they do want to book the appointment after we had that statement go out, then we're going to add the booking objective. Super simple and powerful. So I'm just going to come over here, drag the GHL booking, and this is how easy it is. I'll click in here and I'll just say like estimate calendar, and then search for the calendar that's in my sub account and automatically populated because I attached that source earlier. And I'm going to say book an in-person estimate. I can even say book a free in-person estimate and click save. Awesome. Now, if we book an appointment, then we can add a tag. I don't know, AI appointment booked. So maybe we can report to our client that the AI is working. AI appointment booked. Cool. Oops. Nice. And this tagging stuff's just extra. It's kind of like what I do most of the time. So I'm just sharing it with you. And then let's say if they don't want to book and they want contact back from the estimate team, well, then we can just add another statement here. And the statement can say, I don't know, inform the lead that our estimate team is going to call them back or something within 24 to 48 hours. Yeah, contact back. And we can just move on. We don't need a response from that. And that's it. After that, we'll stop responding. So sweet. We have a bot that's doing a lot, but not really. It's pretty simple. The most important part is this bad boy right here. Right here. Here's like the sauce. This section right here. Determining service area. So pretty cool. Just as a review, before we check it, before we test it, we're asking for the first name. We're getting the project description, the postal code. We're checking the service area. We're determining if they're in the service area. If they're not, we're just going to tell them they're out of our service area and stop responding. If they are, we're going to tag it that they're in our service area. We're going to continue the objectives, get the street address, get the phone number, get the email, mark them as qualified, determine if they want to book. If they don't want to book, then we're going to just tell them that we'll contact them in 24 to 48 hours. And if they do want to book, then we're going to book them conversationally on the calendar. So let's go ahead and publish this. And let's test it live. How about that? Okay. So at this point, we have a persona, we have a source, we have our persona attached to the source, we have a job flow attached to the persona. That's a lot. Closebot, simplify that, please. I don't know why. It's complicated. No knock on you guys. I know you guys are trying your best. All right. So we come back in here and let's go to sites. And I have a live chat widget that's automatically configured in, or that I configured in here. Let me just make sure I have no contacts. Because sometimes if I have a contact in here from earlier testing, it would mess it up. All right, there's no contacts. So I'm just going to pop open this sample funnel that I have here, and it should have a chat widget. And I'm just going to say like, hello, my name is Justin. I need my driveway and house wash. Now, the reason I'm doing this is because I'm not like necessarily wanting to test every single objective. I want to get to the service area portion because that's the important part here. So cool, we received your message, hang tight. Thanks for reaching out, Justin. Can you please share your postal code so we can check availability in your area? Okay, remember, I said 30905. I'm going to put in a completely foreign postal code right now, which is in North Carolina. And that postal code that I initially put in was in Georgia. So I'm going to say 20314. That's in North Carolina. It should be out of the service area. So this is testing the false section, and it should respond and say, hey, you're not in our service area. Go away. Let's see. Thank you. I'm sorry, but we don't serve your area at this time. I wish you all the best finding the right service for your home. Super cool. It worked. All right. Now, what I'm going to do is come in here and I'm going to delete that contact. And we should actually, let's check the tag. We should have a tag that's NISA. Let's go ahead and check this. There you go, NISA, and the AI is off, so it worked. So I'm going to come in here. I'm going to delete this contact because we're going to want to retry this here in a second. And I'm actually going to give it a zip code that is in the service area. So let's go ahead and make sure this contact disappears. Cool, it did. I'm going to refresh this page. Sometimes the cache messes this up. But let's go ahead and say, hey, my name is Justin and I need my house washed. All right. This isn't Closebot. This is just Go High Level responding, but Closebot should be responding here shortly. There it is. Thanks. Can you give me your zip code? Now this time I'm going to say 3090. Let's go 30907. I think that's one. I don't know. We'll see. It's near the origin. So 30907 is the destination. I hope that's a valid zip code. I think it is. It should be going out right now and actually checking the service area, and it should be in the service area. So let's see what it responds with. Great, we serve 30907. Could you provide your street address? That's super cool. So now it's going to the objectives. Remember, now it's coming over here and it's asking for the street address. But at this point, we should have the ISA tag. So if I come over here and refresh this a little bit, we have the ISA tag. So this is working as expected. Let's go ahead and say, 123 Main Street. And then it's going to ask for our phone number. So I'll give it a phone number, 9021268 or whatever. 54. That's a made-up phone number, so please don't call it. And then I'll actually, it's going to ask for emails, support@leadbrain.io. And now it should ask me if I want to book an appointment, and it should wait for my response. I'm going to go ahead and say yes to booking an appointment, and that'll take me down to true so you could see it trying to book the appointment conversationally, just in case you've never seen that before. Would you like to schedule your free estimate now or have the team contact you to find a convenient time? I'm going to say, let's do it now. That's taking a little longer than I'd like it to take. Let's see what's happening here. So if I come over here to conversations and I pull up the conversation, I can see what's happening. So I wonder, no calendar ID given. So it's moving on. Okay, so I need to give it the calendar ID. For some reason, I didn't find the calendar ID. So let's come back in here. And that means we're going to have to test this all over again. Okay, so bear with me. But let's pop this open. And let's see what happened here. Yeah, we're going to use the calendar ID. Maybe the calendar I had loaded in there was old or something. So let's come over here to my calendars. And let me look at the estimate calendar. I'm going to copy that calendar ID. And I will paste that in there and click save and publish those changes. And let me delete this contact and let's go through that all over again. This is testing. This is going to happen for you guys as well. And so you should be testing this before you deliver it to your clients. And I'm going to test this all over again with you guys. So let me wait for this contact to be deleted. Okay, cool. I'm going to refresh this. And just to speed the conversation along a little bit, I'm just going to answer some of the objectives here. Hey, my name is Justin. I need my house washed. And I am in the 30907 zip code. So this should sort of skip everything, go all the way to checking the service area and then determining if I'm in the service area and responding appropriately. I'm going to go ahead and type out my address, 123 Main Street. Number is 910, and my email is support@leadbrain.io. I just want to speed up to the appointment booking objective so that we can test that. Awesome. Let's book now, or let's say, let's schedule now. Now, if we come back in here, let's see what's happening inside of the conversations. There you go. So it should have responded. We see here. Cool. We have availability from 8 to 4. I'll say let's book Sat at 12 p.m. So Saturday at 12 p.m. So it should actually book that on our calendar. If I come into our contact, you see we're qualified. The qualified tag was added and the new appointment was created. And I have an appointment automation here that's actually reminding me of the appointment and all that. And that's super cool. So it's done, right? At this point, I typically don't like to respond because I have an appointment reminder workflow that reaches out and gives an appointment confirmation, but that's up to you. You can add a statement after this. But that's it. At that point, this bot is completely functional. Now, you might be asking, well, what happens if we already have the zip code? We asked for the zip code inside of our form. We don't need the bot to ask it. We don't need the bot to have this functionality. Well, that's okay because the same fundamentals apply. You can use that same API call that we configured inside of our agent. Let me pop it open so you can refresh your memory. But if you come over here, you can use this same information, this same format in order to build your API call and an automation here. So as soon as somebody fills out a form, you can take a custom action here inside of Go High Level, which is a custom webhook, and you can build out that same API call in here and build out logic to do this inside of here. But that's not what this video was about. Hopefully you found this helpful. I know this is going to improve quality for me and my clients. And so hopefully to do the same for you. If you liked it, please like, comment, subscribe, join the Automation Station community. I'll put a link down below, and the link to import this bot is going to be inside of that post. So all you have to do is one click, import, and you're good to go. You can run this. You can sell it to clients immediately. Have a nice day. Peace.